Alright, welcome back to the Eternal Spoiler Breakdown. This is going to be a small one. It's probably not even going to be on YouTube, but we'll record it anyways because, yeah, there's Dead Reckoning is tomorrow. So if it is Wednesday your time, yeah, actually we probably will put this up. Dead Reckoning starts tomorrow. If it is Wednesday your time, it will be up. There will be a patch, probably, I'm guessing, 8 to 10 in the AM PST. And then we will have our 25 mission campaign with our 25 card campaign with a pile of missions that assumably will somewhat correspond to those cards. Going to be covering the previous parts of the Ikaria campaign. Since we only have one spoiler for tonight, and I believe it's the last one of the night, and probably the last one until Dead Reckoning launches, we're going to talk about that. This is Daraka Queensguard. She is a 6-cost 7/7 overwhelm that says whenever you play Eileen, she gets an Aegis, and summon, stun an enemy unit. It stays stunned while you have Daraka. Things to note here. First off, of course, any sort of clarifications. If you play Eileen, Eileen is the one that gets the Aegis. That does work with either Eileen, so if you're playing the 8-cost 6/6 or the 7-cost that has the ability to stun and silence units, either Eileen will get Aegis. Neither Eileen has Aegis, so that's kind of a neat little bonus. However, you don't necessarily evaluate Daraka Queensguard on her ability to buff Eileen's. It's a cool bonus, but it isn't actually what makes the card good. What makes the card good is that there's an Ice Sprite on a stick, and or Ice Sprite on a much bigger stick, and that's actually pretty relevant if you want to build some sort of like primal mid-range type stuff. So in like an Elysian type deck, this is just a Permafrost on a 7/7, and that can be pretty useful. Although, of course, if the 7/7 dies, the Permafrost goes away. That can lead to bad combat math for you. You can get outplayed by your own Daraka if you are not being fairly careful. So, gotta keep an eye on that. But there are a lot of cards that actually benefit from stunning things. There are some cards like you can actually use Icebreaker with this and try to sort of wreck things when they get stunned. And, there's a little bit of fun that can be had with that. Okay, so a 7/7 overwhelm + 6 with a cool spell-like ability is pretty good. I would say the stat line is very good for a 6-drop. It is just about what you want to have. Overwhelm is pretty good skill, so that's nice to have as well. Like I said, the overall strength of it is quite high. The main problem is that you can, of course, get outplayed, so you need to run some cards like Protect or Backlash in your blue decks to make sure that you can keep Daraka alive on the attack. If you have that kind of stuff, Frontier, the 4/4, oh man, the 4/4 that Daring Pioneer is another one. Anything that actually keeps you alive on the attack is going to be much more beneficial for setting up Daraka, and Daraka is not a card that really responds too well to silencing. Silencing does free up the weapon, or free up the unit, but it means that you still have a 7/7 on the board, and you're still pretty happy about that. So just keeping this thing alive is super, super awesome. So good stuff. Yeah, Eileen with Aegis is fairly scary, and actually the reason that I think that Daraka is really interesting is because she plays in some blue mid-range decks that we were actually talking about a little bit previously and are getting a bit more support now. And the main one is that we're probably going to be building some Snowball Eileen. Daraka Queensguard is a Permafrost on a stick. We already have Permafrosts on sticks. We have high amounts of curse cards that we can use to lock down things, including cards like Rhymescale Draconis, cards like Malediction Reader, who benefit from curses. We have some ways to actually do stuff without using spells, and Daraka adds one more big tool that actually both creates a good defender and also creates a way to lock down a unit. That means that spell-less Primal is more available, and we can start doing things like Geralt Iceheart with big spells, or Eileen with big spells. And since we have now got 3 snowball sources, I can really easily see a deck where we have multiple snowball sources, play the snowballs to activate Eileen, and then throw Channel the Tempest out, or throw Decimate out, or throw 8 of the Huru out, and just completely rock the house. Or do the same thing with Geralt Iceheart, because that's just as fun. But because we now have a couple more tools in that particular kit, that's really interesting. And also, this card just works well with Eileen in the first place because it gives Eileen Aegis, and Eileen is very scary with Aegis as a 6/6. So you can play Daraka with a big Snowball Eileen deck and feel really happy about how she sort of benefits that deck and makes it more interesting. I think that's the deck that she most belongs in. However, she's also quite strong. That's the fun deck that she most belongs in. If you're going to play a ranked deck with her, I think straight Elysian with a lot of Backlash, Crystallize, the Daring Pioneers, Unseals, and just the general ability to sort of attack in all the time with your big units, keep your counterspells up, and then play more big units when your opponents don't use removal is really, really solid. Daraka is going to be a good boon to that particular type of deck. There was a spoiler we didn't talk about that did not get fully spoiled, so I guess we'll talk about it now. It's called Memento Mori, and we'll just add that to the list so that we have a little bit more to fill the video with. So Memento Mori is a relic, and we can take a pretty good guess at what it does. Let's just go ahead and pull that up right now. All right, and we just have a half of a screenshot of this, so. It is a stranger-based relic. The Memento Mori is in fact the image of Horace Traver and his wife in a locket. Okay. So here's Memento Mori, or at least what we know of Memento Mori. And you'll be seeing this card tomorrow, so the mystery will only be for another, like, 10 hours, 4 or 5 if you're watching the YouTube video. Memento Mori is a relic that reads, you gain +1 maximum power, and you have 5 influence. Summon, gain 5 influence. It's possible that there is a 4th hidden line of text here, which could be just about anything, like strangers have +1/+1, or strangers are 1 cheaper, or something strangers. I'm not actually sure if that's the case. My guess is that it is just a straight 3-cost relic with the ability +1 maximum power, and summon, you gain 1 of each influence, which would be very, very strong. It could, however, do something like be really expensive and then cost less for each stranger that you have, or have like some sort of cost that actually cares about strangers in some other ways. Have something that like bonds, it could bond with strangers, like it could be like a stranger relic. That could be really interesting. There's ways that this could be this could have a 4th line of text and be unusual. I think most likely what it's going to be is a pretty interesting time relic that actually enables you to play a lot of cool shenanigans. This card works really well in any type of deck that's trying to push to 5-drops. I really like it basically just for Ironthorn style control decks, and I'm curious to see if it actually does fit in that line. It could cost as much as 4. This is a fairly powerful effect, just getting all of that influence for all of your different colors. If you want to play 5-color good stuff and you're playing just the best cards in every set, then Memento Mori being really expensive is not necessarily out of the question. I suspect it's going to cost 3 or be higher cost but have some kind of stranger benefit. But it does, of course, work with strangers, makes Forlorn Stranger better, allows you to play Triumphant Stranger, or I think his name is Triumphant Stranger. I can never remember his name. The 5-color stranger that can make more strangers. And yeah, like he's just doing a pretty decent amount of stuff, so this card's kind of interesting, and I think it might actually see some play. We have a red card called Boar that's coming out that we don't know anything about yet. It probably is going to be a spell, but we will see what it does. I'm guessing damage and then some damage push through. And beyond that, there's a new Twitch overlay coming out that we are going to have access to that will allow people to view cards in Twitch if I install the overlay, which I certainly will be doing. And you can just like look at the cards and look at the like hyperlinks to them. I think it'll be kind of cool to play around with and should be a lot of fun. So we will see some stuff with that. That could be really, really cool to see on Twitch, and I'm pretty happy about that as well. I'm overall very excited for Dead Reckoning. I can't wait for it to launch. We're going to be playing it tomorrow night. We will also try to play it some on Thursday night. I will not be around that night, but I will maybe try to hop on late and play a little bit more, and we'll have some fun with that then. So looking forward to sharing Dead Reckoning with you all. To the YouTube folks, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers.